Hey everybody, it's Luke again, and welcome back to Serious Sunday, the show where I talk about things that have to do with video games. And tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about something that is more a continuation of the most recent ThursDev video that I did, which talks about the asymmetrical horror game. I wanted to talk a little bit about games that are multiplayer only, online only in many cases specifically, and how they are, generally speaking, really cool conceptually a lot of the time, but how they can kind of also be a little bit of a problem, and why I support in many ways the decision of Friday the 13th's developers Gun Media and Ilphonic in delaying the game so that they could get in a single player mode. I'm not going to say that I advocate 100% of the time, every time, for developers to create an offline mode or an independent or a single player mode for their games. I don't think that should be absolutely a necessity for every single game, but I do think that building your game entirely around being multiplayer and sort of predicated on the idea that players are going to be playing together and in many cases willing to group up with people that they don't know it's a real gamble as a game developer. Now, I mean, I work on games that do just that, albeit in the mobile space, which is a little bit different insofar as they are most frequently free-to-play games and so have a very different method of user acquisition. But still, the ideas in many cases still are transferable. The fact that user acquisition is this huge and very difficult to deal with thing that you really, really have to be focused on at all times, and that if you're creating especially a PC game where it's entirely based on everybody that is playing your game being online and in many cases being willing to do sort of a quick match, can be great insofar as you can build a lot of really good multiplayer, and if players are willing to do that, it works out extremely well. But I've seen all too often a lot of games that you go and you're interested in buying it because it's just gone on sale, for example, because there's a Halloween sale going on Steam at this very moment until November 1st. So if you're catching this on the day that it airs, there's a Steam sale going on. Check it out. Get ready for your wallets to be slapped by Valve once again. But all of that said, a lot of the time you'll go in there and you'll check the comments section and it'll say, mixed reviews or whatever, and you'll look down there just to see what people are saying about it. And I won't go into what user reviews are all about in this video, and I think John talked about it a long time ago. But the one of the first things you often see with a lot of the games is like, this game is dead, there's just nobody to play with, it's kind of not worth your money to buy a copy of the game at this point anymore, because getting into a server is going to be a pain in the ass unless you have X number of other friends joining in with you to play the game with you. And I mean, that's a valid complaint. It's an entirely valid problem that can happen with a game in this manner. And I was particularly started to think about this today because we just picked up Dead by Daylight. It was on the holiday sale, and I have been very much looking forward to this game, much in the same way that I'm interested in Friday the 13th. And Matt and I are going to give a shot at that, and hopefully we'll have a video for you guys tomorrow, since it's looking more and more like the Friday the 13th beta keys are not coming this weekend. So we are going to be getting into this game, but I'm seeing a lot of people saying, not so much that the multiplayer is running out of people to play with, but that, there are some problems with, getting into a game if you specifically want to play a killer or specifically want to play a survivor. I'm not sure which one it is that's supposedly having problems right now, but apparently, I guess, one side is considered superior to the other, and so playing on the other side is kind of pointless, so people are always trying to clamor up to do this one particular side of the game, and it's just not working out. It seems like it would be particularly difficult in an asymmetrical game where only one person can comprise an entire half of the game, right? So there you go. That's the kind of problem that you can run into. And then, of course, you have games that just don't have people playing them anymore. And if there is no single player, if there is no way for you to play the game with, even with bots, or you just can't convince one of your friends to play the game with you, then launching the game is just pointless. There's nothing that you can really do. And this is, I mean, it's exacerbated in things like console games that rely entirely on you being able to hook up to a multiplayer server. I remember a while ago, I don't remember how many years it was, but when they took down the servers that were serving multiplayer for Halo, there was a group of people who were who knew that it was going down. It was common knowledge, and so they had this big sort of Halo tournament where it was just a never-ending game, infinite lives, infinite points, and just these groups of people playing against one another until the servers went down. And I think that Microsoft left the servers up like 2 or 3 days, didn't allow anybody new to log in to the game. So as people logged out of the game, or as they got dropped from the server or whatever, the login resolution server was or the end of the server was already kind of shut off, so nobody could get back in. But they were allowing people to kind of play it out and see how long that they would go before the whole thing ended. And that was, big props for them. But the very fact that, they had to shut down the servers means that now, basically, these disks will launch up, and you'll have your single player component because it's Halo in this particular case, but the multiplayer is gone. It's just not a thing that's an option anymore. And if the game was a multiplayer only game, then look at that. There's nothing for you to do. Very similarly, I worked back when I was on Acquire, one of the last games that I was involved with, although only really tangentially because there was a different producer and a different sort of team working on it. Clan of Champions, which has recently gone on sale for the first time, I think, since I put it on my watch list on Steam, because I wanted to see if they were ever going to put it on sale, because it didn't seem like it was for a very, very long time. But yeah, the first 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 comments that I read were basically saying, the gameplay is kind of fun in many ways. Here's what I like, here's what I don't like, but that's all kind of a moot point because there's nobody to play with. That is the big problem with creating an online-only game. And especially a premium online-only game where people have to buy the game in order to get into it. So it's a lot more difficult for sort of late-stage user acquisition because new things are out there, and it's hard to get people to pay money for something that's old, even if it may, stand up to the current date. Anyway, that's kind of all I really had to say today. It was just kind of a rant about video games that are online only and how it's a good idea that games are implementing a single player feature. It all came about because I started playing Dead by Daylight today and I wanted to test it out, but I didn't really want to get in with a group of randos when I didn't have a lot of time to actually practice anything. Even giving me a practice mode would have been great, guys. Starbreeze, behavior, take a look at that. It might be good for you. But anyway, that's it for me for today. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I hope that you enjoyed the video today, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday or whenever it is that you happen to watch this video. I'll see you guys later. Take care.